Good evening, Miss Basquet's class. I am Matthew Medeiros Sr. This is Matthew Medeiros Jr. Say hi. This is Lauren Eden. We are Nanya Beeswax, Rhode Island. Miss Basquet has been taking our videos and showing them to your class. So room 31, we are going to start with yours first, and we answered all your questions that we received. So first, we're going to start with Jaden.
Jaden asked, "Why are you putting the bees in the hive? What are they going to do in there?" And we answered, "The hive will become their homes. They are going to build comb and start making honey."
Next question.
Lily said, "In the summer, do you have a winter suit so you will not be hot?" The answer is, I wish you want it somewhat thick so their signals can't get through the suit.
Nicholas asked, "Why is the queen bee separated from the rest? They have to get used to her scent before they can accept her. Not every queen that you receive the package is their own queen, so they have to make her their queen. How long does it take to make honey? How long does it take to get honey? Honey does not take long at all. Most of the year, you can collect it during the spring and the fall." Brody, he asked the next question. "How do the bees make honey?" "They collect nectar from the flowers, put it in the comb, and fan it to thicken it up to form honey. It takes about 8 to 9 honeybees to make 1 teaspoon of honey." "How long do they live in there for?" Normally a honeybee lives about 6 weeks. Queens can live 2 to 3 years. "How do they find their way in?" Every bee that goes out and forages has an internal GPS. They know exactly where their hive is. And unless the hive is moved, they will always fly back to the same spot. Go ahead, Laura.
Sophie asked, "Were you nervous to put the queen bee in your pocket?" And we answered, I wasn't. She was in her cage." And she also did another question. "How can you start having your own bees in your backyard?" We answered, "I'd read the book Beekeeping for Dummies. And take a beekeeping course." She also questioned, "How often do you get new honeycombs?" And we answered, "They're always building new honeycomb."
Addison O said, "Hi, Mr. Medeiros. I only have one question. Do you do beekeeping as a hobby, or do you just like doing it for fun?" The answer is, I do it as a hobby and for fun. It's relaxing to me.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
Jason asked, "What does the smoke do?" "The smoke calms them down so they don't get so angry at me for going in their hive. You gotta remember, we're going in their home, so they don't always like that." Addison P asked, How do they do that without getting stung?" "You always want to wear a bee suit and long pants, but a sting might happen every now and then. Ask Matthew." Right?
Yeah. It doesn't really hurt to get stung that
Matthew
much.
West said, "How do you get honey from the bees?" The question is, you take out frames with honey in them and spin them out with an honey extractor.
Good job, buddy. I'm going to give Matthew the next question, too.
Mackenzie said, "How does a bees start their hive? The question is, bees start their hives by building a comb so the queen can lay eggs. The question, what does bee poop look like? I will show it.
We have a picture that Matthew is going to show you. Go right there, the camera.
Show her what it looks.
Get up close. Get a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what bee poop looks like. Good, Julia.
Alright, so Julian asked, is it hard being a beekeeper? And we answered, it's not hard, but there is a lot to learn and you always are learning. And she also questioned, are the bees aggressive? We answered, sometimes they are, but most of the time no. She also questioned, how many hours a day/week do you spend taking care of bees? We answered, I check all 4 of my hives once a week. Take about 2 hours.
Annalise asked, do the bees go to a new place to get flowers? Bees will always go to the same place as long as the flowers have pollen and nectar. If they find a good spot, they go back and tell all their friends. You can see this by a bee will do what they call a waggle dance. That's how they talk to each other. They wiggle their little bee butts. If a bee goes to a different flower, will they come back? Honeybees always know where their hive is at, unless it is moved. Bees can fly 3 miles from the hive to collect pollen and nectar. Can bees move into a hive? Yes, they can, as long as they have room to build their comb for their queen, and their queen can lay eggs. That's all the questions we have from room 31. We look forward to your questions this week, where you see the main star, Matthew Medeiros, in it. Please keep them coming. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.